Okay, so remember that they're changing my voice. So Paul said that a Jew is somebody who is circumcised on the inside. Right? Matthew 23, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, and the outside will be clean. Now, I just saw a debate between Cliff with his son Stuart and some Hebrew Israelites, one of them who's very famous. And the Hebrew Israelites, they like to argue that African Americans, and sometimes they argue that Hispanics are chosen, and that Africans aren't. Okay, there were slaves in Africa who never made it to America. They were dispersed from Israel as well, right? But nonetheless, they argue, hey, that's Ham because they think that they know best about Scripture. Just like all the other people who are wrong, everyone else who's cheating me out of my right to lead, they swear up and down that they know best and get very angry. Let them put on a lot of weight, throw their weight around. Grrr. They try to be like Goliath. Grrr. They wear funny hats, trying to make a joke out of things. It'd be a straw man argument for anyone who's trying to argue that it's a Royal African Falcon martial art order. Open and shut. Some of the Jews, a lot of them are crypto Jews, if not all of them. Some of the Jews help them out. Sure, I'll help you out. I even say things that sound like we're serious, okay? And they try to prevent people from doing God's work. And obviously they're wrong and they're evil and so on and so forth, right? So we see a part in the Bible where Christ says that he was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. First of all, the word being used is sheep, right? Now, if I bought a sheep, from another country, it's my sheep, right? If we're talking about people, if I bought a servant or slave during a time where people were slave trading from another country, that would be my slave. And I would be trading him in my ways, right? Pretty straightforward. When we talk about how the Lord is a warrior, when Israel was training its army to fight, the servants would also go there as well, right? Where Christ says, character in the story said, where I be, my servants will be there too. And we see in the Bible, in several places, many places, that there's servants for the Jews, the Israelites, from another race. So if you take the story as literal, we see in Mark 3:35, it says, whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother. It doesn't say whatever Jew does God's will. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say whatever Jew or Gentile. Now, some people are arguing that Gentile doesn't mean non-Jew. I don't give a damn what it means because I have a holistic approach to the Bible and I know what it's getting at. God is known and is exalted by his acts of justice. So who's right? Christ is the character in the story saying, hey, I'm the same guy who said I came for the lost sheep of Israel. Saying whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother. Whoever. It's anybody. Somebody from across the world. It's an Eskimo. If you're an Eskimo, hey, how you doing? If you do God's will, you're one of the sheep of Israel that I came for. You get the idea? Some people don't get the idea. They also don't get that the Lord is a warrior, and in Judges 3, he taught them warfare. He didn't teach them to be a mocker. Didn't teach them to shrink to fit. He didn't teach them to say, hey, as long as the white man says I can because I got to feed my kids, okay? When you go to war, you don't know if you're going to eat or not. You don't know if you're going to live or not. You don't know if somebody's raping your wife, 100 miles away or not. But you go to war because that's what a warrior is. A bitch is somebody saying, I got to make sure I have food for my family. That's called being a pussy. When we're talking about matters of God, that's called being a fucking coward. And it's fucking pathetic.